Welcome back for our closing session. I'm June Blotnick with Clean Air Carolina, and happy you're with us this morning for this closing session. What we did yesterday, we're going to do again today, which is to start by just getting some feedback from the breakout sessions you were in and try to process that a little bit. Think about takeaways that you have from your session, things that inspired you or give you hope for the future, anything you want to share. I'm going to share my screen, and then I'm just going to use it sort of like a flip chart, and I'll be typing as you all talk. So we'll start with the Green Faith Circles of Care and Resilience. So anything that group wants to share with our larger group here that you came away with.
Yeah, this is Michael. One of the things that I took away from it was our discussion about the plastics and how they're impacting our planet. Oops. Thank you, Thomas, for bringing that up, because I'm a very passionate person when it comes down to talking about plastics and how we need to be more aware of what we're doing to the planet with these items, because like you said, we're not responsible when it comes down to recycling them, but we really need to become better stewards of our planet by learning more about recycling.
Thank you, Michael. And I'm just, since I was in that session, opportunity to ban plastic bags in Charlotte or Mecklenburg County. I think there's a lot of interest in it, and so that was definitely one of my takeaways.
This is John. Takeaway for me was kind of the structure of these circles and how they serve as a grounding mechanism and kind of reinforce people's commitments to these things, as opposed to a more disorganized approach that can lead to like fatigue and kind of a loss of focus on addressing specific issues. Reverend Amy could probably state it better than I could, but that was my best attempt at trying to paraphrase.
For sure. It's very important in any kind of organizing you do to have that. Anything else on Green Faith Circles?
They can work.
It's a great model. And Amy was not able to get through all her slides, but her slideshow will be in Whova, so that if you're interested in learning more, you can look at that, but you can also contact Amy. And I'll just do this, amy@greenfaith.org. Okay. All right, let's go on to Blessed Tomorrow, bringing your faith voice to climate policy. Who would like to share their takeaways from that?
I don't know if Dennis is on with us, but I can jump in. One of the great things that we pointed out was the power of storytelling. Dennis is a trained ambassador, but also has been working with farmland and conservation for decades. And he told a great story that grounded people literally and in the earth and ground and regenerative agriculture and some of the things that people in cities forget are really important to climate action. So the power of storytelling, care for the earth, and beauty of creation.
What else?
Annie, that cruise also gave more reasons the faith voice is powerful, especially here in the Southeast. There are churches and synagogues and temples on every street, just about. So that the voice of faith is very prevalent and can be very powerful because of the easy access. You know, many of the houses of faith here in Charlotte are used as community gathering places. And, you know, what better place to help spread the word and to host symposiums and to bring the climate perspective into the faith action.
Mm-hmm. Good one.
We also had an interesting question about, you know, what is going on? How can we be a voice at the state and national level, because it's so confusing? And so the need for clarity was really important. And that's what our training helps to do, is sort of synthesize. There are a lot of different voices. We have, you know, MSNBC, and we have Fox, and there are different views, and we help focus people on what matters. And just like interfaith traditions do, draw the elements that come together. We talked about bipartisan support for some of the climate action at the federal level, because in the end, the positive benefits of solutions apply to everyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's so important, especially here in North Carolina, but just across the country. Is, you know, within your congregation, you may or may not know who's a Democrat, who's a Republican, who's a independent. And, you know, North Carolina has a group in Raleigh that's actually spread to other states called Conservatives for Clean Energy. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, those are the relationships we need to be strengthening and reaching out to and partnering with these organizations, because we know they're out there. And even within the faith community, right, you've got evangelicals, you've got lots of leadership in the evangelical community on climate action. And so, you know, it's been great. We've brought a cross-section here today, but there's a whole lot more out there, and this is just the beginning. So thank you for that, Jennifer. I will, anything else on Blessed Tomorrow? Power of the faith community.
I wasn't in that group, but I did have a thought on it, which is that many faith communities are invested in different types of missions or just other investments in countries around the world to make sure people have housing and healthcare and stable access to education and food and all those basic amenities. And we can broaden that conversation to talk about the things that we do in our daily lives and how those have an indirect impact on those people, but a very real impact through climate change.
That's excellent.
The only other thing that I'll add that Annie brought up is, because it's hard to sit through a 4-hour training, many people don't have that ability in their schedule. The Blessed Tomorrow is about to launch an online learning management system that will have the training in, you know, 8 and 10-minute chunks. And many of you have done that during COVID, you know, where you take a little quiz at the end and make sure you were listening to the whole 8 minutes. But it helps you be able to do that at your own time, and then you can join and learn, get the learning as well through that system. So just one more tool to help people be educated. There's so much available on the internet and YouTube, and there's some great climate scientists who have some great YouTube videos. Catherine Hayhoe is one of my favorites. And we can talk about that in resources. But anyway,
yeah,
just one more Blessed Tomorrow tool.
Great. Yeah. All right, let's move on to North Carolina Interfaith Power and Light. What are the takeaways from that session?
Well, I'm happy to jump in here some, though I know we have a few people who are on that as well. So please, anyone feel free, but I'll throw in one of the big campaigns that they're putting together is the For the Love of campaign, which addresses for the love of the world, for the love of each other and the people, for the love of creation, and for the love of the species and the planets, the plants and animals that we share this planet with. And just kind of an expansive view, an expansive campaign that provides multiple opportunities to engage and perspectives to engage.
And I'm sure there's more information on their website.
Sure. Another line that Susanna used a couple of times that really stuck out to me as well moving forward is equity as the basis for ambition. So using equity as the basis for if we have high goals, we have big ambition for what we want to achieve through climate change, through trying to not conquer climate change, but try to mitigate the damages of and reorganize our society around the issues that will be coming down the pipe, and that equity should be the basis for any of those ambitions as they move forward. Another one that I thought was really good and really speaking, it speaks to the ability of people of faith. When people are coming to people, talking to those who have power and talking from a place of faith, there's a power in speaking the truth and seeking the truth. And so that's when you are someone who is seen to be doing that, that gives a lot more weight and legitimacy to your voice and to your viewpoint. When you're talking to someone, whether it's in the General Assembly, whether it's someone like our new EPA administrator who's homegrown here in North Carolina, Michael Regan, or any number of other people who are in positions of power.
Ethan, did I really capture this? I just put power of speaking the truth to elected officials. Are you
I
talking
would
about?
Put the phrase "speak the truth" and "seek the truth."
Okay.
You can add that. I think that that would both of those. Would help.
This is using equity as the foundation. Yeah, that's so important. The whole intersectionality of these issues of the time we're living in right now, over the past year and a half, it's well, just the past year, I guess, but how equity and justice and health and climate and all these things are coming together, which is exciting,
Absolutely. Well, I
we're
definitely
starting to see the connections.
I know we have a few other people here as well, so I know there was some other good stuff. So if anyone else want to chime in?
Yep, we've got lots of bullets. Anybody else on North Carolina Interfaith Power and Light?
Well, then one more or a couple more I'd put in was advocating with compassion.
Oh, right.
And the importance of using compassion and the root of that word, which is to recognize effectively a shared struggle with somebody. It goes beyond just empathy, but more a shared community with somebody. And then also the power of partnerships and the importance of building trust in those partnerships, and then leaning on those to accomplish more than any one individual or one organization ever could by themselves.
And in terms of partnerships, was there anything specific? Was it within the faith community or was it?
So it's within the faith community. It's within the broader interfaith power and light context, with the sister organizations from other states, within other faith organizations joining together in a voice for the U.S. fair share movements to contribute our fair share to conquering climate change globally, considering our historical contributions. And a lot of those sort of movement-based organizations, I think it applies.
All right, great.
That's a common theme in the green faith circles concept.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, absolutely. Yeah. All right, let's just move on to climate theology. Excited to hear about this.
This is Rodney. I wanted to lift up some of the general themes that were raised during this is sort of the similarity between different theologies as they wrestle with issues of climate and environmental care. The importance of indigenous communities and indigenous faith traditions, and how they bring a distinctive perspective that we need to attend to. We also focused a good deal on womanist theology. And I don't know if you all know what womanist theology is. I think Candace is here and she can explain sort of the origins of this particular brand of Black theology that is born from women's struggles, and how this has really raised the notion of environmental eco-justice in a different kind of way than other theological perspectives have. Similarities, of course, but distinctive perspective from the way that African-American women have envisioned dealing with issues of the climate. And I think just sort of the need for the overlap, the intersection of these conversations between various faith communities working towards climate, working towards the betterment of our larger planet. And anyone else want to weigh in quickly on this?
I guess I just had a question about and I've heard about this, and at our UU church we've actually had I don't know if her name is Sonia Betancourt, if that's a name that's familiar, but I'm just wondering if locally in Mecklenburg County, I know Candace is not here, but Rodney, do you see any movement, conversations around this theology here in our community?
Yeah, I think Reverend Glency Redrick is a woman who has been doing some great work with womanist theology. I think she's working on her doctorate now. And I believe that womanism figures prominently in some of the work that she's doing. Also, Melissa, what's Melissa's McQueen, Reverend Melissa McQueen, a good deal of her work sort of is the intersection of LGBTQIA+ theology and womanist theology. And there's several other people that are lodged in womanism. So
okay, good to know. Okay, anything else on any of these that we want to document? I'm running a little behind, I see. So I'm going to go ahead then. Thank you for that. Thank you for sharing, because it is important for us to know what was happening in the other sessions. So thank you for that. I'm going to stop sharing. And so we just want to introduce the video. And I don't know how many of you have seen this before, but Amanda Gorman, who is the youth poet laureate of the United States, who spoke at President Biden's inauguration and blew us all away, I'm sure. But actually this video is a couple years old, 2018, December, and it was done for the Climate Reality Project. There are 24 hours of reality, if anybody remembers that. So this is just voice of a younger generation and inspirational words as we consider what actions we're going to take when we leave. So Kelly, I'll turn it over to you.
On Christmas Eve, 1968, astronaut Bill Anders snapped a photo of the Earth as Apollo 8 orbited the moon. Those three guys were surprised to see from their eyes what planet looked like an Earthrise, a blue orb hovering over the moon's gray horizon with deep oceans and silver skies. It was our world's first glance at itself, a first chance to see a shared reality, a declared stance, and a commonality, a glimpse into our planet's mirror. And as threats drew nearer, our own urgency became clearer as we realized that we hold nothing dearer than this floating body we all call home. We've known that we're caught in the throes of climactic changes some say will just go away, while some simply pray to survive another day. For it is the obscure, the oppressed, the poor who, when the disaster is declared done, still suffer more than anyone. Climate change is the single greatest challenge of our time. Of this, you're certainly aware. It's saddening, but I cannot spare you from knowing an inconvenient fact, because it's getting the facts straight that gets us to act and not to wait. So I tell you this not to scare you, but to prepare you, to dare you to dream a different reality where, despite disparities, we all care to protect this world, this riddled blue marvel, this little true marvel, to master the verve and the nerve to see how we can serve our planet. You don't need to be a politician to make it your mission to conserve, to protect, to preserve that one and only home that is ours. To use your unique power to give next generations the planet they deserve. We are demonstrating, creating, advocating. We heed this inconvenient truth because we need to be anything but lenient with the future of our youth. And while this is a training in sustaining the future of our planet, there is no rehearsal. The time is now, because the reversal of harm and protection of a future so universal should be anything but controversial. So, Earth, pale blue dots, we will fail you not, just as we chose to go to the moon. We know it's never too soon to choose hope. We choose to do more than cope with climate change. We choose to end it. We refuse to lose. We do this and more, not because it's very easy or nice, but because it is necessary. Because with every dawn, we carry the weight of the fates of this celestial body orbiting a star. And as heavy as the weight sounded, it doesn't hold us down, but it keeps us grounded, steady, ready, because an environmental movement of this size is simply another form of an Earthrise. To see it, close your eyes, visualize that all of us in this room and outside of these walls or in these halls, all of us change makers, or in a spacecraft floating like a silver raft in space, and we see the face of a planet anew. We relish the view, we witness its round green and brilliant blue, which inspires us to ask deeply, wholly, what can we do? Open your eyes, know the future of this wise planet is right in sight, right in all of us. Trust this earth uprising, all of us bring light to exciting solutions never tried before, for it is our hope that implores us at our uncompromising core to keep rising up for an earth more than worth fighting for.
Wow. Thank you, Kelly. I don't know if you were holding your breath, but when it was over, I was, what a powerful gift to all of us. Please share that with others. It's called Earthrise. It's on YouTube, and not a bad thing to start your day out with, to remember how important it is, the work we do. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our solar team next, and that would be Ethan and Stephanie.
Thank you, June. I'll go ahead and I'll hop in and just introduce a little bit. I'll thank you all for joining us. And yeah, just echoing June's words, what obviously an incredible piece by our youth poet laureate. And I think we've all come to recognize her skill and her craft so much more, obviously in 2021, but that was a few years ago. So obviously an incredibly gifted young woman. So for solar, for those of you who joined us for our breakout yesterday, you'll recognize I'm gonna hand it immediately off to Stephanie Jett, the Duke Energy's program manager for their rebate program. And she's so she can give us a little bit more detail for the further group on the rebate program itself and how churches and faith communities can access that rebate for themselves. Stephanie?
Thank you. I appreciate it. Give me just one moment and I will pull up some slides for us. All right. Thank you, everyone. I'm excited to get to talk to a larger group today and make sure that so many are aware of this opportunity. Want to really focus today on just the nonprofit piece. Yesterday, and you'll see in these slides, I covered the entire program. Really want to focus on the nonprofit piece a little more today because that is where we have so much capacity available to help. If you're familiar with House Bill 589, that's where this program came from. The residential, non-residential installations have specific capacity limits. For nonprofit, those capacity limits are 100 kW AC. We do have allocation periods twice a year, one in January, one in July. Since 2018, when the program started, we have not fulfilled the nonprofit allocation, which is 2.5 megawatts per year. Because that did not get filled from 2018, that amount that is unused has continued to roll over. As of now, we have over 3 megawatts available for each of our jurisdictions that we really, really want to have the opportunity to help nonprofits with their sustainability goals and see how we can help do that through solar rebate. Nonprofit capacity gets 75 cents per watt. If you do have a system size at 100 kW or above, your system will max out at $75,000. The program still has capacity available right now for nonprofits. So even though the next allocation period starts July 7th, projects can still go ahead and apply for the allocation now because it's still available right now. Had it previously been sold out, then we would have to wait to another eligibility window, but that is already finished. That doesn't apply here because only the other ones have finished those capacities. One thing we are doing a little bit differently starting in July is we have a random selection process. So originally the application will be available for 1 week, July 7th through the 14th. Start window and end window on those dates are 9 a.m. We will take the application down at that time and we will conduct the random selection process. After we finish that, on July the 28th, we will open up the application again to any customer type that still has capacity available. Historically, this has only been nonprofit, so we are pretty confident that only nonprofit would still have capacity again this year, and that the application will reopen only to nonprofit applications. Some customers want to go ahead and install prior to receiving a reservation confirmation from us. Some wait for it. We understand there are different opportunities for different groups, so understand if some want to go ahead and install or some want to wait for that. In this particular situation, as soon as you apply for interconnection, you get a project number. We just need that project number in order to fill out a rebate reservation. And since there's so much capacity available, we can go ahead and do that at the beginning of your project. Don't have to wait until you get too far down the road for that. All right, just a reminder, July 28th, the application will open back up. So if you do not have an opportunity to apply from July 7th through 14th, that's okay. It will open back up on the 28th. Our website has some information. One, you'll see this flyer here to the right. It's a great resource to have just kind of the quick highlights of the program. There's also a video on the website, tells you the highlights of the program as well, and walks you through how to fill out a rebate application. And then there's an FAQ section that we have our most commonly asked questions there. If something changes, we start get a different question that we have not previously gotten, then we'll add those there as well so they can have a reference in that spot. And then my last slide here is just contact information. If you have questions about interconnection, bill impacts, things like that, the Renewable Service Center here at Duke can help you. That's their phone number and email address. And then if you have questions about the rebate, that first email address is for our team. So one of the team members can assist you with those questions. Or if you'd like to reach out to me directly, that's my email address and phone number there. The only other thing I would like to mention is 2022 is supposed to be the last year of this program. So after 2022, if there is capacity that has not been allocated to nonprofit, that capacity becomes open to any customer type in 2023. So not to try to push people to move quickly, but we're already mid-21. So we've got about a year and a half to allocate those capacities to nonprofit and have that opportunity for them. So yeah, questions about that, how we can help, please let us know. The end of 22 is not when you have to have finished installing. We just need to give you the reservation by then. So you'll still have 365 days from your reservations to get those fulfilled, but want to try to get those rebate dollars allocated to you as soon as we can.
Thank you so much, Stephanie, for all that great information. And just to echo Laura Combs, who joined us from Eagle Solar and Light on the breakout, mentioned that in their experience, it has often taken about 18 months for a faith community to make this action. And that 18 months obviously puts us right at the 2022-2023 New Year's line. So thank you for mentioning that the timeliness of it as well. I know we also have a little time, Susanna Tuttle, Reverend Tuttle had joined us a little bit. Interfaith Power and Light has some resources for solar and for energy efficiency as well. If you have a little chance to join that, and then I'll have a few more resources to share myself, but I'll hand it over to Susanna.
Sure. Thanks, Ethan. Yes. So one thing that I want to offer everyone on this call is that North Carolina Interfaith Power and Light is a member of North Carolina Sustainable Energy Association. And so that is how we resource our congregational communities as far as information and updates about new policies coming out. And I'm happy if anyone wants to contact me about that, as well as, yes, we have partnered with many different installer companies through the different congregations that we've supported, starting with our energy savings analysis. And I was glad for those of you that were on the greening our facilities session yesterday, talking about energy efficiency and how renewable energy dovetails with that, and the importance of making sure that there's the whole building analysis. And many of the solar companies, of course, will do an audit in relationship to the capacity and potential for solar, but we want to make sure that we're doing that, that we're not just putting solar on a really inefficient building. So we want to support you in that. We are still offering our energy savings analysis at no cost through our volunteer network, and so want to make that available. And then in the session that I just did with Ethan on advocating with compassion, many of you know, work very closely with the utilities, and am increasingly doing so in the rural electric co-op space. So if you happen to be a member of a co-op, please let me know, and I will help navigate renewable energy advocacy, because most of those co-ops are not providing opportunities for congregations or any of their member owners in the areas of solar. But with Duke Energy, we are in regular conversations, and there is a a June 8th advisory council meeting with Stephen Dumay, of which myself and Al Ripley from the North Carolina Justice Center, Steve Callan from the North Carolina Clean Energy Technology Center, and others serve on that advisory council. So we'll be getting some updates there around any new opportunities, continuing to advocate for premium products and services for congregations as nonprofits. That's why we have that nonprofit carve out that we need to take advantage of. Let's do it. We got just a little bit more time, and so please just let us know how we can be of support. And I'm so glad Ethan and Good Solar are really looking into creative financing opportunities for that as well. So thank you for this opportunity. Fantastic conference, everyone.
Thank you so much, Susanna, and thank you for all the work you do and Interfaith Power and Light does, and obviously the Council of Churches connecting so many faith communities throughout North Carolina. I know we're a little over, though I wanted to quickly share my screen with some resources that we talked about during the How to Go Solar breakout, just for some more information follow-up. Susanna mentioned the North Carolina Sustainable Energy Association, NCSEA, very good group you can join as an individual or as an organization to stay plugged in. They worked with the North Carolina public staff, the head of which is appointed by the governor and confirmed by the legislature to advocate on behalf of the public at the Utility Commission. They put together a consumer guide for solar electricity. It says for the homeowner, but the vast majority of the information is equally applicable to any faith community. And it goes into a lot of the more technical things like net metering and roof stuff into more detail. And also actually prepared by Interfaith Power and Light in conjunction, really led by Temple Emmanuel up in Greensboro. They have a best practices for congregations document, which talks about more of the congregational perspective, how to build momentum within your community to get the facility built. And a little bit less on the technical aspects, but both of them have aspects that are addressing financing. I also wanted to call out, Susanna also mentioned Steve Calland at the NC Clean Energy Tech Center. He's the executive director there, though they have a couple of great programs that are very utilizable. One's Energy Sage, which is a great place to go to get quotes and compare quotes from different solar companies to make sure that you are getting the most effective system for your community, as well as DESIRE. It stands for the Database of State Incentives for Renewables and Efficiency. So it's for the entire country, but you can go through North Carolina and see a list of different resources, including the Duke Energy Rebate Program that should pop up there. Finally, I wanted to mention through some of our supporters behind this summit, we are able to offer a $500 stipend for different faith communities that are looking to go solar. This, it's Charlotte region, but absolutely look through North Carolina. We would love to support different communities, get some more of these rebates taken up and get this installed. So if you're interested in starting on that, and you can be anywhere in this process, if you're just thinking about it and you want to start a green team and move it down, or if you have a green team that think, okay, let's actually get serious about it. Anywhere in there, I invite you to join, and I'm opening the chat. I think I covered everything in there. So yeah, I think that covers it for us. So thank you so much, for joining us today. These resources, I don't know if they're immediately available, but everything will be on the Huba app, and hopefully we'll send out through some email blasts afterwards. Thank you all for joining us, and fingers crossed, let's get some more solar. Thank you.
Thanks, Ethan. I'll just say before Amy goes, if you're interested in the solar challenge, email me at june@cleanaircarolina.org. We need congregations to use this money. Thanks.
I love it, June. We're begging congregations to spend money. That's great. We have money for them to spend. That's wonderful. So, friends, we have one more small task to do before we wrap up and go on about our day. And what we'd like to do is invite you to pause for a moment and think about all that you have heard today and yesterday, if you were part of the conference yesterday. And think about what is a next step that you might take, or maybe a next step or 2 or 3. One of the things that's so important when we think about trying to get organized, trying to do the work together, is to identify steps for ourselves, things that we can do. So June is going to, is it June? Somebody, Kelly is going to share a poll with us, and it only has space for 10 things, but I think one of them is other. Pick 3. Pick 3 things that you will take based on what you've learned at the summit.
Yeah, and we didn't have room for others, so you can put that in the chat.
Oh, okay.
So we can document that idea.
So go ahead and check your the ones that you want, and then I think will we be able to show the outcome of the poll, June?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, once
Just give us an idea of where people's thinking is at this moment, maybe help you solidify something that you really want to do, but maybe you haven't quite gotten there yet. But based on something you learned or heard today, like, yeah, I'm ready for that next step.
Don't forget to hit submit. I think we're ready to share, Kel.
Wonderful. Look at that. Yay, solar is popular. We love that. All kinds of great answers. This looks beautiful. We will hang on to that. And it looks like there's a bunch that are at 25% and above. Great. I love the follow up and meet someone that I met at this network. Yes, and youth involvement. Those are high, both high. That's wonderful. Would anybody like to just share out loud? Are you willing to put yourself on the spot and say, this is what I'm going to do? I'm curious if anybody would be willing to share. Are people able to unmute themselves, or do I have to call on folks? And I won't call on you if you haven't raised your hand or.
I can go. I'm thinking about just having, and I'm not any kind of faith leader. I attend a church, but not in any kind of leadership role. I'm just thinking about having a conversation with the leaders about doing an energy audit, looking into getting some reusable coffee mugs. Are we composting the coffee grinds? How are people getting to and from the building? It's not far from the bus stops and walkable areas. What are we doing to support that? Starting that conversation about what are we doing to support the environment.
Great, thank you so much, Meg.
Meg, I have to I want to jump on real quick when you said, how are we getting to work? Because one of the things that we did in our Let's Talk Climate series for Eco America is have a talk with Taiwo Jayoba, who's the planner for the city of Charlotte. And someone asked him that question because I know he lives in Union County. He rides the bus in from Union County. And he gave a great explanation. I'll put the link in the chat of how you can listen to his interview again, but he gave a great vision of a climate-friendly urban plan for growth. So I just want to call that out because absolutely transportation choices are one of the big ways that we can reduce our carbon footprint.
Yeah, I've always thought it would be so super great if, like, within a 1 or 2 mile radius of the center of a city, you just made it all walkable. Like, unless you were an emergency vehicle or some kind of delivery vehicle, just walk for those who can. Yeah, I just, imagine what it would be like to just have a walking city. It'd be so beautiful. Nothing inside of 277. Anyone else like to share one thing that you're thinking of doing?
I'm scheduled to speak to my congregation on the 6th of June. I'm going to tell them about the situation that we hear, how this conference worked out, and suggest that we try to form a green faith circle.
Right, great.
Great, Thomas. That's beautiful. Thank you so much. I think we have time for one more, if someone's willing.
I was just typing it in the chat, but I'm Susanna Tuttle, and I'm just going to drop the link into I shared it in our session, but to our resolution to Duke Energy. We just have a couple more weeks to sign on. We have denominational heads, individual congregations, individuals, and I will be bringing that to the advisory council meeting for Duke Energy on June 8th. So please do a last push to get as many people on that.
Yay. Yeah, that's great, Susanna. Thank you so much. That's something we can all do.
Yes.
Sign the petition. That's perfect.
2030 climate goal for carbon emissions.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that.
Good call to action.
Yes,
And,
a great call to action.
Meg also put a call to action in the chat as well. So check that one out.
What is that one?
That's to join the Charlotte Regional Transportation Coalition. It's a coalition of nonprofit organizations and individuals and even businesses that are working together to improve access to all of the region without the need to own a car. So Tariq, who's on the meeting here, is also, he's the facilitator of that coalition. Would be happy to talk with you all.
That's excellent. Thank you for that. Yes. Wonderful. And I'm going to do something that's less local, and Susanna, you should too. I'm going to drop the link to the sign-up sheet for the, if anybody wants to go to Minnesota. If anybody's interested in taking that trip, I just put the Green Faith link in there, and I know you have one for the bus. If you want to share that, that would be great.
Yeah, I do. And I'll send it to you, Amy, so you can send it out to all the folks that registered. I am a bus captain. So if you want to join me for an amazing, we're calling our bus the Health and Wellness Bus to the People's Treaty in northern Minnesota. And we will be doing a blessing of the headwaters of the Mississippi with the indigenous people from that land. So not to be missed. And we can stop this pipeline.
Absolutely.
Show up.
Yeah, that's so great, Susanna. And Green Faith's also heading a delegation. We will be participating. There are people coming from all over the United States. So we're really excited to be a part of that and to go to be with the indigenous people and witness the work that they're doing and hopefully to strengthen it and persuade President Biden that he should revoke these permits. It's happened before, so it can happen again. This is doable. Okay, so we have come to the end of our time together. I want to, Rodney, how you doing? You with me, brother?
I'm right here.
Close this out. Yeah, great. So I just want to say thank you again to everyone for your support, for your participation, for your wisdom, for your energy, for your passion, for your faith, and for your care for the planet. This is the issue in my life, and I think it's an issue of our time, that we really are so interconnected in all the things that we care about, whether it's racial justice or climate justice or healthcare. The list goes on and on. They all have a foundation in where we live. And so we need to be grounded, and we need to be taking care of the planet that gives us everything. She's in trouble and she needs our help. So hear the call. Rodney, do you have anything you would like to say?
I'd certainly like to say that this was a wonderful last 2 days. I'm just want to give kudos to all of those who helped plan this, who helped work on this in terms of logistics, who joined, who participated in any way, and who attended, because it's important that we all have to show up at this fight. We all have to show up in this larger struggle. I also want to say that as I look at the screen and I see the numbers here, let's do this again, and let's make it at least 100 times bigger. The message that needs to get out. I'd love to see not just faith leaders, not just a few people from local congregations, but I'd like to see whole congregations recognizing the significance of this work. that this is tied to the heart of what the Creator calls for. And because of this, this is something that we all have to stand for. So let's continue this work and let's do it bigger and even more bolder next time, making sure that we help everyone to see that this is our responsibility as those who have been blessed to have some time on this planet. As we close out, I just want to say, God bless you all and thank you all for all that you're doing to make this world a better place to be.
Thank you, Reverend Rodney, and ditto. I thought I would read the UN Environmental Sabbath Prayer of Commitment because it's so beautiful as our closing words. We join with the earth and with each other to bring new life to the land, to restore the water, to refresh the air. We join with the earth and with each other to celebrate the seas, to rejoice in the sunlight, to sing the song of the stars. We join with the earth and with each other to recreate the human community, to promote justice and peace, to remember our children. We join with the earth and with each other. We join together as many and diverse expressions of one loving mystery for the healing of the earth and the renewal of all life. May it be so.
Blessed be.
Friends, our solidarity is sacred and enriching, and so let us go from this place lifted up and inspired to be bold for faith, for climate, and for one another.
Yes. We can do this work.
Yes, we can. We definitely can do this.
And together we will be successful in this work as we are co-workers with God.
Oh, beautiful.